Is it Minon in Salisbury, Maryland?
Yes, you
Hi.
got me.
Thanks for listening to Sirius XM. What's up?
Thank you for taking my call. I was calling to see if you're familiar with a book by Dr. James Gilligan. He's a psychiatrist at New York University, and he wrote a book called Why Some Politicians Are More Dangerous Than Others.
No, I'm not.
Well, very quickly, he was doing a study from 1900 to about 2007, because he was interested in the fact that suicide rates and homicide rates tended to go up at the same time at the same rate. And he couldn't figure out why that would be happening. So as he studied, he found that eventually he figured out that those rates were going up on an average of 4 to 8 years. And then they would come down on the average of 4 to 8 years. And finally, he figured out that when Republican president was in the White House, suicide and homicide rates skyrocketed within the first year of the Republican taking office, and that as soon as a Democrat got in, they fell, in each case, at extraordinary rates.
Right.
And thus the book, Why Some Politicians Are More Dangerous Than Others.
Amazing.
In essence,
same is true of unemployment, by the way. Unemployment goes up when Republicans come into office. Unemployment goes down when Democrats come into office. And the inverse of that is true with the stock market. The stock market tends to do much, much better under Democratic administrations than Republican ones. And those are just like indisputable facts.
The idea that people are killing themselves or killing other people, more so when Republicans are in office, is mind-boggling.
Well, there's,
it makes sense given the way things tend to be.
Yeah, I've quoted many times in this program, and I don't know which stack I've left it in, so I can't just pull it out right now and read to you from it, but you can easily Google it. In 2002, as I recall, the BBC ran an article that I think the headline was "More Suicides Under Conservative Rule." And it was a 98-year study that was done out of Australia of Australian and British citizens. And what they looked at was in both countries, they aggregated the numbers. In both countries, what they found was that when conservatives took power, suicide rates went up. They didn't look at homicide, but suicide rates, but it would make sense that homicide would go up too. If people are frustrated enough to kill themselves, they might be, certainly first even inclined to kill somebody else.
People,
right. The suicide rates went up during conservative administrations, what you would call the Tories, and the suicide rates went down during liberal administrations, what in the UK and Australia you'd refer to as Labour, or at least in the UK. And in fact, the conclusion of the article, and this was just straight BBC reporting on this study, the conclusion of the article was that, and it was the entire 20th century, it was from like 1901 to 1998 was the period that was studied, and or 1999, I guess it was 98 years. And the last paragraph said that they concluded that about 35,000 people would not have died if conservatives had never been elected in either of those two countries. I mean, they were actually able to quantify the number of people.
From the libertarian point of view, those people don't matter. Exactly.
Yeah. They're takers, right? They're not the noble makers who, were the people who were inherited all that money, like in Atlas Shrugged, where Dagby and her brother, I forget his name, inherited the railroad from Daddy. Or like with Koch Industries, where they inherited the oil company from Daddy. Or like Donald Trump, where he inherited his real estate empire from Daddy. They all made their money the old-fashioned way. They inherited it. And people who don't, yeah, you're right, they just don't count. Thank you so much for the call. Very well said.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.